You saw it, the millions watching at home on Netflix saw it, and Logan Paul, the man who thought he was untouchable, felt it. The masked man, the phantom that has been haunting the red brand for weeks, didn't just strike again, he sent a message that echoed from the ring to the rafters. A surgical, brutal stomp through the announce table that has left Logan Paul's prime empire in shambles. Grab your gear and settle in, because we are breaking down the hunt, the hit, and the horrifying truth behind the mask. The atmosphere in the building tonight was electric, but it was a nervous energy. Ever since the masked man started appearing in the shadows, every superstar has been looking over their shoulder. But not Logan Paul. No, the United States champion walked into Raw with his usual swagger, his entourage, and his gold, acting like he owned the place. He spent the first half of the show mocking the fans, mocking the locker room, and most importantly, mocking the very idea of the masked attacker. He called him a cowardly cosplayer and a bottom-tier clout chaser. Little did he know, he was essentially ringing a dinner bell for a shark. The main event was a high-stakes encounter, but the real story was happening at ringside. Logan Paul had joined the commentary team, wearing a headset and making jokes at the expense of the competitors. He was mid-sentence, bragging about his latest viewership numbers, when the feed on the arena's big screen suddenly went to static. For those of you watching the Netflix stream, it looked like a glitch, but the fans in the arena knew better. The low-frequency hum started that grinding, industrial noise that signals the arrival of the phantom. Logan Paul stopped talking. He looked around, his cocky grin fading into a look of genuine confusion. Then, the shadows came to life. From behind the timekeeper's area, a figure clad in tactical black denim and a distorted, unreflective mask emerged. He didn't run, he stalked. He moved with a rhythmic, predatory gait that felt eerily familiar. The security team tried to intercept, but it was like they were moving in slow motion. The attacker bypassed them with surgical precision, his eyes locked on the announce desk. Logan Paul stood up, dropping his headset, trying to find his bearings. He reached for a prime bottle to throw a desperate, almost comedic gesture, but the masked man was already on him. What happened next was cinematic violence at its finest. The attacker didn't use a chair. He didn't use a belt. He used the environment. He grabbed Logan Paul by the throat and slammed him onto the reinforced announce table. The sound of the impact was a dull, sickening thud that silenced 20,000 people. The commentators, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett, scrambled out of the way, their microphones catching the panicked breathing of a champion who realized he was no longer in control. The masked man stood atop the desk, looking down at Logan like a gargoyle. The crowd was screaming, a mix of terror and "you deserved it" cheers. And then, the signature. The attacker hopped into the air, his boots catching the light, and delivered a curb stomp so precise, so devastating, that the table didn't just break, it imploded. The aftermath was pure anarchy. Medical staff flooded the area, but the masked man was already gone. He didn't vanish into the crowd, he vanished into the production area, moving through the cables and the crates like he was part of the machinery itself. Backstage insights from our sources tell us that the tension in the gorilla position was at a breaking point. Triple H was seen on his phone, barking orders at security, while Logan Paul's brother, Jake, was reportedly trying to force his way into the arena to find the attacker. The locker room was dead silent. One superstar, speaking anonymously, told us, "We all hate Logan, but seeing that, it wasn't a wrestling move. It was an execution. Whoever is under that mask isn't here to win titles, he's here to end people." Let's talk about the fan perspective, because the internet is a war zone right now. The masked man is trending worldwide, and the theories are flying faster than a springboard 450. Some are saying the posture and the stomp point directly to a returning Seth freaking Rollins, seeking revenge on the man who stole his spotlight. Others are pointing to the tactical gear and suggesting a darker, more unhinged version of Dean Ambrose. But there's a new theory emerging tonight. What if it's someone Logan Paul personally crossed in his past? Someone who isn't even a wrestler in the traditional sense, but a ghost from his digital history? The mystery is the draw, and the WWE is playing it like a master violinist. The stakes for the upcoming Premium Live event have just been catapulted into the stratosphere. Logan Paul is reportedly being evaluated for a severe concussion and structural damage to his neck. If he can't compete, the United States title is in limbo. But more importantly, the invincibility of the social media era has been shattered. The masked man proved that no matter how many millions of followers you have, or how much Prime you sell, you still bleed, you still break, and you can still be stomped into the concrete. The humor, if you can find it in the wreckage, was the sight of Logan's expensive sunglasses flying into the third row during the impact. A fan caught them and was seen on camera trying them on while Logan was being loaded onto a stretcher. It's that mix of the absurd and the brutal that makes this era of Raw so captivating. We are moving away from the polished, corporate feel and back into the gritty, unpredictable apocalypse style of storytelling. The consequences are real, the blood is real, and the fear is palpable. As we look toward next week's show, the questions are piling up. Will the masked man speak? Why Logan Paul? Was it because of his arrogance, or is he just the first name on a very long list? And how does Adam Pearce explain to the board of directors that his biggest star was just hospitalized by a ghost? The pacing of this storyline has been perfect, a slow burn that just exploded into a 5-alarm fire. Every time we think we've figured out the pattern, the attacker changes the rules. The emotional beat of tonight was seeing the social media icon looking human. For years, Logan Paul has played the role of the intruder who is better than the professionals. He's been the guy who gets it more than the veterans. But tonight, he looked like a victim. He looked like a man who finally realized that in the world of professional wrestling, there are things much scarier than a bad like-to-dislike ratio. There are men who live in the dark, and they are very, very hungry. The cinematic story of the masked man is the heartbeat of wrestling apocalypse. We've been tracking this since the first flickering light 3 weeks ago. We've analyzed the gait, the height, and the specific way the attacker grips his fist before he strikes. Everything points to someone with high-level training, someone who knows the production layout of the arenas, and someone who has a personal vendetta against the new era. This isn't an invasion, it's a purging. What do you think of this latest attack? Was Logan Paul the right target to truly establish the masked man as a top-tier threat, or did you want to see him go after a more traditional superstar first? And let's get into the comments. Who is under that mask? Is it the architect returning to reclaim his signature move? Is it a newcomer from the indies making the most violent debut in history? Or is it something we haven't even considered yet? We want to hear your wildest theories, your frame-by-frame breakdowns, and your reactions to that table spot. If you're as hyped as we are for this new, dark chapter of Monday Night Raw, do us a huge favor. Smash that like button until it breaks, just like that announce desk. Subscribe to Wrestling Apocalypse and hit that notification bell, because we are going to be providing 24/7 coverage of this mystery as it unfolds. We've got people on the ground, we're monitoring the hospital reports, and we're scrubbing every second of footage for a clue. Would you like me to do a full suspect list video tomorrow, breaking down the top 5 candidates for the masked man's identity? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for riding with us tonight. The world of wrestling is changing, the shadows are getting longer, and the social media megastar just found out that even icons can be crushed. Stay safe, keep your eyes on the entrance ramp, and never, ever turn your back on the darkness. Stay loud, stay wild, and we'll see you in the next one. The apocalypse is here, and it's wearing a mask. We'll see you for the fallout.